Tochi Mgbemena. I'm 16 years old and I'm excited today because I get to go to my first college football game.
Yeah,
It
awesome.
is.
Okay, so we're gonna go to our two softball opener questions. Um, what is your favorite activity to do right now outside of school or work?
Crocheting. I crochet a lot.
Yay! Yeah, and tell me about something that you've made recently.
Okay, so I just recently moved into my dorm. Just well, not recently. I keep saying recently, but I forget I've been here for like about 5 weeks. But then yeah, I actually got myself some green yarn. I really love vines. My room back at home had a lot of vines, and I was really looking for like a way to make it feel like home. So I just got like this big ball of yarn from the dollar store, and then like I just kind of like crocheted a lot of vines from my room. If I was in my room, I'd have probably shown it. But
Yeah,
like yeah,
totally. Yeah.
it was really nice. I crocheted a bunch of vines.
Oh, that's so cute. Okay, how would your best friend describe you?
Okay, she would probably say that I have a very soft personality. Um, she would say that I'm easygoing. She would say that I am hardworking to a certain degree. Um, I mean, those are just the basic ones. That's what I feel like she would say about me.
Yeah, definitely see all of that in you. And just so much light. You're a great personality, Tochi, and like I'm very
Hmm.
grateful for the opportunity to hang out with you. But yeah, okay. So moving on to our next question. What is an accomplishment, personal project, or extracurricular activity you are proud of working on?
Okay, so a couple of months ago, I started volunteering with this nonprofit organization for mental health. I'm part of the junior board, but like I also do like the podcast and stuff. I feel like just being in such like a community with people who are like equally as passionate about like mental health is so amazing because you see like in this world where not many people like really care about it or not many people see it as a problem, you see like this group of people who are actually really passionate about it, people who are actually like making like constant efforts towards like kind of like elevating or like helping out the situation. It's really amazing, and I found like some of the best like mentors, the best friends there. So yeah, it's been really nice so far.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And I'm glad that you're having a positive experience. What tips would you give someone trying to do something similar?
Okay. Number one, right, is that you should really like take a look at yourself. And then also, no, the number one before that number one, I would say don't go around making all like these tiny little nonprofit organizations. I myself wanted to make one while I was still back at home, but then like someone advised me to like kind of like check out some nonprofit organizations online, and I did, and I'm so happy I did because it's actually a lot of work, especially as a student, a college student. As a matter of fact, it is a lot of work to like manage a nonprofit organization while going to your classes, while also getting involved in clubs, while doing your internships. It's just a lot of work. And another thing is that when you're in an already formed nonprofit organization, most times people who form these things, like the one who owns the one I'm working at, that's her full time job. So it kind of like tells you how committed this person is to the organization. And then just kind of like being there, it's kind of like actually make, because like if you're really passionate about something, you're not that interested about how it would make you look. You're just passionate about like how this is going to benefit the people around you. And I feel like at some point I had to really evaluate myself and be like, hey, I actually just want to make this thing better. I do not need to create one if I can be a part of a team that is already working towards that. So I decided to join the nonprofit organization, and like when I tell you that it was one of the best decisions that I've done, I've met so many amazing people there. And then I also feel like the rate that I'm actually like creating an impact is a lot like more than I would have felt if I had to start from the beginning, because it is a lot of work. There's a lot of legal work involved, there's a lot of money involved, there's a lot of, it's just a lot of things. So joining an already existing nonprofit organization is so much better than just starting your own from the scratch. Another thing is I can go check out volunteermatch.com for any like volunteer opportunities. That's where I found the nonprofit organization that I'm currently working with, and I also work with another one that kind of like helps with education for like international students. So that's something else that I'm also engaged with right now. What else is there? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing. And I think that's a lot of like really helpful and completely applicable like tips for anyone like who's interested in getting started, because I think getting started is always the hardest part. Like you know, there's different stages of like beginning projects or like staying engaged in a project, but getting started is always like what's the hardest part. So thank you for like eliminating that part for anyone who's interested in getting involved. Okay, and our next question: what does education mean to you?
Okay, for me, it's not just about like, can I solve this question or can I balance out this equation? It's kind of like understanding the way things work around me. Like for me, I really love being in nature. Like at least that's where my happy place is. And thankfully, I'm in North Carolina. I'm surrounded by that. So I'm really happy about that. But then I just really like being in like nature, and I feel like just being here has actually made me ask so many questions, and it has given me like more of a desire to learn, because like I just want to know why things work the way they do. I feel like education for me is just like having that constant desire to want to learn and not just like have good grades, because I feel like wanting to learn and having good grades are two completely sides of the ruler. Like it definitely is, because I feel like recently there has been a decline in like people's desire to learn, because like really it has been difficult. The world has been difficult with like COVID, or like there's just so many things going on in the world right now. So I cannot blame anyone. But like that, once you're able to like kind of push yourself to really want to be curious about the things around you, like you want to know the way things work. Like something that I have been doing myself recently is if I see something, I'll be like, hey, I want to know the way that works, and I can write it on a little like notebook, and I can Google it online. It doesn't need to be you like getting this big book and saying, oh, I'm gonna lock in, I'm gonna learn about this, I'm gonna learn about that, because that's just feeding into the whole like instant gratification. You need to actually be okay with like not knowing that much at first, but then slowly you're learning this, slowly you're learning this. But then let me not stray too far. But like
Oh, it's
yeah,
okay.
education to
Yeah.
me is just like learning about the environment around me, learning how things work, learning about myself too, because that's something very important to me. I really love learning things about myself, and also learning things that make me feel like I know more about myself. As I said, I'm sure you can tell that I'm a psychology geek right now.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. You can tell. Like, yeah, I love getting myself involved with like books about that, like learn about myself, learn about like the things that I do, and be like, hey, I do that. Let me actually like learn why I do this. Like now,
Yeah.
for example, I journal a lot
Mhm.
because like sometimes I tend to like have very like anxious thoughts, and like I
Yeah.
get like really overwhelmed with like these thoughts and stuff. So like I do try my best to like get into journaling, and I'm like, why do I actually like really love journaling? And then I went online and I kind of like checked like kind of like how it works in terms of like when you have like anxiety or something, and I really found that it really helps it out, and I was like, oh, no wonder I really like doing this. So
Yeah.
like learning is also like finding out things that help you understand why you're the way you are, because then like if you understand why you're the way you are, number one, you're less likely to judge yourself for doing the things that you do. You're more likely to love something or someone that you know more, and I feel like it just makes you feel like more of a holistic individual, because like now you're not just doing things because you do them, you're doing things because, hey, you do this, no, this happened, and then now you do this to kind of like work to actually help that, if that makes sense. Do you get what I'm
Makes
talking about?
total sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for sharing. That was a very like well said answer, like well put. So, oh my goodness. I feel like okay, I want to ask a follow-up question. What's a topic, subject, or skill that you think should be taught in schools?
I would say stress management should be taught in school, because the thing is that there is so much stress. Like this school is a stress inducer, the top of the list, as a matter of fact. But like yeah, we already see like all these things, like people trying to like push out strategies to kind of like elevate like mental illnesses, like kind of like help you out of that. But like we shouldn't always like look too far into the future. We should kind of like focus of like where it stems from. The truth is that this world as is, it's already so overstimulating, and then like the little things that we go through, the stress that we have every day can kind of like pile up and then can send you into like a burnout period. So I feel like teaching us like ways to manage that stress as it's coming is so much more productive than waiting for it to like just get so piled up to the point where you cannot have it anymore, and then you're on a water slide and you're going all the way down. So like yes, I feel like stress management should be taught.
Tell me about someone who has left an impact on you and why.
Okay, so this is actually one of my friends. Her name is Ebube. She just like one of those people who are just like, you know, you see someone and you're like, I actually just want to be like this person. Like her ethic is so amazing. Like she's the type of person who says that she's gonna get this thing done and she will get it done at the time that she said that she will get it done. And it's something I really see in her and I'm like, wow, like that is actually so admirable. Because I know that for me, I really struggle to get things done when they need to be done. And the other thing is just like she's so motivated and she's so disciplined. And like when you have that type of person around you, it's just kind of like a motivation because you're seeing like, hey, this person is around you, this person is motivating you. So like it's just the type of person that you'll be around and you feel like you can do anything. Yeah, that's it.
So true. It's important to have friends like that. Like they push us to be
Definitely.
better. So I love that you have that with Ebube. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Next question. Is there a cause or social issue that you're passionate about and why is it important to you?
As I said earlier, mental health. Yeah, I feel like it's very important to me because like especially coming from Nigeria, you see it get like very neglected, especially like in school systems. From like very young ages, like people are getting like all this workload, all these things, all these responsibilities, and then they're not getting the support to take on these responsibilities. You see a lot of like Nigerian kids, like once they reach like the age of like 18, they're burnt out because like they didn't get the time to grow up, they didn't get the time to really ease into adulthood. So like everyone, like there's just like this constant state of stress, and then like it's kind of like just seen as the norm. And then like if you should bring up anything about mental health, it's gonna be the whole conversation about like, oh, we're trying to like bring in Western stuff. And that is another thing that I do really try my best to talk about when I can, like the whole issue of like the westernization of like mental health by Africans in African countries. I see that a lot, like when people come up with like the fact that they might be struggling mentally, people just kind of like blame it on like Western media. Like they say, oh, it's because like, you know, we're receiving media from like, I don't know, like movies, like we're seeing these things being portrayed in movies, we're seeing these things being portrayed on TikTok, on different social media. And they kind of like actually try to deviate from what might be the actual cause of this mental health issue and try to like say, oh, they're just mirroring this thing that they might have seen online. I feel like it's very insensitive to do that. And I see that as a trend, especially with like school counselors, school, like definitely it's particularly the school system that does this. But yeah, that's definitely a cause that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, I can see that, and it is an important cause to be passionate about. Okay, what advice would you give to someone who wants to make a positive impact on their community?
Okay. The first step is to actually just like sit down and assess yourself and then think about yourself in the context of that community. Sometimes like we do things and like we do not really like take it from the point of view of like how we would receive that information, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like okay, so some people might try to like get into like some work with like the less privileged, but like it comes off in like a way that is not so genuine. Like there's a certain like way that you would do it that would come off as not genuine. So I would say like if you're trying to like serve a particular community or a particular demographic, try to like put yourself in the position of that person that you're trying to serve and be like, if someone came to you with this help or this type of help, how receptive would you be to that type of help? Because it's so important to think about. Also think about the things that might be of like urgent need to them, if that makes sense. And then also like don't think about the things that look good for yourself. Think about the things that will be good for them, because like you might be like, hey, these guys might need this thing, but like giving them this thing might look a lot more impressive on my resume, or like may look more impressive when I tell people about that. So that's definitely something to consider as well. Just like try to put like yourself in their shoes. And then another thing, also just don't do it to like brag or flex or anything. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Thank you for the great advice. Well said. Okay. What is a challenge you've had to work through and how has it shaped you?
I would say my body image issues. I would say that for a fair amount of my teenage years, I have kind of like struggled with that, at least like for some portion. Um, I don't think like I still have that problem now, but like if I'd say like it has shaped me in any way, I would definitely say that I do feel like more confident, like walking, like working through that has actually made me feel like a lot more confident in myself because it's actually, this is the only body that I'm gonna have till the day that I die. So I have two options, which is love it or hate it. And the truth is that hating it isn't like so constructive at the end of the day. So I might as well love it at the end of the day. But I'd say that it really, really shaped me. Like, the thing that particularly shaped me is that just like loving the way that I look has actually like made me focus more on my personality because like when you're not so obsessed with like the way you look, you kind of like start taking care of what's inside of you. Like you start like seeing things, like you start like I don't know how to explain it because this is like even such a hard thing to explain to myself. But like
Yeah.
once I stopped looking, like stop obsessing over the way that I looked, I started learning things about myself that I wouldn't have known because I spent all my time focusing on what was on the outside and not on the inside, you know?
Mm, so well said. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I feel like that's a situation and a reality for so many young women and like young people really. And just I'm grateful for you like sharing your journey with me and being vulnerable and I just really appreciate like hearing your story. What advice would you give to someone who's facing a similar challenge?
I would say number one, be kind to yourself. And then also like don't push yourself out of like because like the truth is that me personally something I didn't realize until like actually took my time to evaluate myself is that I actually like the way I look. I just felt like I didn't like the way I looked in comparison to other people. So I would say like the first step is to really like try and understand why you're feeling the way you feel. I feel like for me it was more of like societal standards because like I myself wouldn't look at myself in the mirror and be like, hey, I'm not beautiful. I'm like looking at what people deem as beautiful. I'm like, hey, I'm not beautiful in comparison to this. So like once you make yourself the standard, you don't have to like worry about what other people look like because then you're the only person who you're measuring yourself with. It's completely different if you're like doing like a weight loss journey for like, oh, you want to like get yourself to a different like I don't know, maybe for your health or something, but like don't put pressure on yourself to lose weight to look better because there's no amount of weight that you're gonna lose or gain that would make you love yourself. It's all about you because if you didn't love your like you can't hate yourself into a body that you will love. It just doesn't work that way, if that makes sense. So yeah, definitely just it's difficult. I can't just say just stop comparing yourself because I won't even lie, sometimes I do that. But just really try to understand why you feel the way you feel and then don't just jump to the conclusion of you're not cute, you're not because everyone is beautiful. Everyone is beautiful when you look at yourself. And also it sounds corny and cringe. I used to think it was corny and cringe, but like sometimes when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself that you're beautiful. Do the silly daily affirmations. It works, guys. I promise it actually works. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Great advice, Tochi. And I think that you've provided some tips that are really useful, applicable, and like easy to implement. So thank you so much. Um, cool. Okay. What do you think is something about you that will get left out of standard applications? So like what is something that you would want to share on most applications, but like maybe that's just not a question they ask? Like, you know what I mean?
That is a very difficult question. Let me think.
Take your time, take your time.
Um, hmm. I would say, I would say that the most important part of me right now is my self identity. In different, like, I don't really know how to explain it. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like every single day I try my best to like know myself more. I've always like tried to share the fact that my number one goal in life is to actually know myself. But the thing is that I don't know what that feels like. So like I can't really like explain how. Do you understand what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, like just that deep, like that feeling of really knowing yourself. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I'm on the journey to knowing myself now.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if I could share something on an application that probably no one would see, it would probably be like my journey to like discovering myself, because I have been in that kind of like journey probably for like the past like 3 years. It's
Yeah.
been like a lot of ups, a lot of downs. It's been a journey, as I said, a lot of
Yeah.
self-discovery. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would probably share my journey of like finding myself essentially.
Hey YouTube! If you enjoyed this person's story, don't forget to subscribe to hear from more inspiring youth. If you want to apply to the Storyteller Scholarship or get more involved in our organization, all you have to do is sign up at the link below. Thanks for watching!